The first fire of 2022 Newroz was lit in the Beytüşşebab district of Şırnak province, near the border with the federal Kurdistan region. Newroz celebrations will be held this year with the motto, "Now is the time to succeed." Representatives of political parties of the Kurdistan Alliance, the Democratic Society Congress, People's Democratic Congress, Free Women's Movement, People's Democratic Party, and many people came together in Beytüşşebab to initiate 2022 Newroz celebrations. The people gathered at the building of the HDP in the district and marched to the center of the district by shouting the "Long Live Newroz" slogan. Ebru Günay, the spokesperson of the HDP, made a speech at the event, stating that they initiate the Newroz celebrations. Today, we light the fire of Newroz in the heart of Kurdistan. Kurds light the fire of Newroz everywhere. Today, we are going to light the first fire of Newroz at the foot of Mount Kato. We wish a happy Newroz, the beginning of spring, to all the peoples of the Middle East and the Kurdish people, Ebru Günay said. After the speech of Berdan Öztürk, the co-chair of the DTK, people began to celebrate Newroz. The first fire of Newroz was lit by peace mothers in Beytüşşebab. Hundreds of people shouted slogans such as "Long live Newroz," "Long live the resistance of Newroz." The regional administration in the Yazidi region of northern East Syria has announced its plans for Newroz 2022 in a ceremony in front of the local autonomous administration building. The press conference in front of the Executive Council for the Yazidi region was attended by representatives of region assemblies of Qamishlo and Hasake, the Yazidi District Assembly, and the Kongrestar Women's Movement.
امه نوروزا 2022 بکن نوروزا آزادی رهبراپو نوروزا برخودانیه نوروزا آزادیه ببینه کی خورد به اراده کی خورد گلمه لباکور و روجلات سوری پیشوازیا نوروز دیگه
Newroz is celebrated across Kurdistan, as well as in some other regions of the Middle East. But the festival takes on special significance in regions following the political philosophy of Öcalan, such as Nes, which is also considered a celebration of political changes, advances, and struggles in the region. The Newroz flame is seen to symbolize new life and revival, in part due to its mythic links with Kurdish folk hero Kawa the blacksmith. A program of events will take place across Nes from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on 20th of March. It was announced by Delist of the Democratic Executive Council of the Yazidi region. There will also be a holiday for local business and institutions.
لبرانبری داگرکری لبرانبری ترور لبرانبری دستلاتداری.
Following the announcement, the ceremonial flame was lit in front of the AANES building. The international signature campaign to have the PKK or Kurdistan Workers' Party removed from international terror list has reached Shengal. Thousands of locals have added their signatures to the campaign, which is taking place in all of the region's villages and towns, and is expected to continue until the Newroz celebration on 21st of March. The issue of the PKK's continued de facto listing as a terror organization, and a particularly pressing one to residents of the Yazidi homeland, also known as Sinjar. It was the PKK which played the leading role in saving members of the embattled ethnic and religious minority from genocide at ISIS hands, meaning locals are questioning why the USA continues to ignore calls to rethink the PKK's de facto designation as a terror organization. Thousands of Yazidis were killed and many more displaced in the 2014 ISIS onslaught, described as a genocide by the UN and other international organizations. A worse massacre was only prevented by the intervention of the Kurdish-led PKK, which worked together with US airstrikes to open a humanitarian corridor into north and east Syria, saving over 100,000 members of the Kurdish-speaking minority. Yet, the US continues to designate the PKK as a terror organization. Indeed, it is only the US, UK, and Europe which include the PKK on the terror list, following Turkish pressure, while many other international powers have refused to do so. Critics say the PKK is only included on terror list at Turkey's behest to stifle legitimate debate or any attempt toward a resolution of the crisis in Turkey. Outreach efforts as part of an ongoing international campaign are expected to continue in Nes and elsewhere, as campaigners aim to collect millions of signatures across the globe. The STF Press Center interviewed a local from the Turkish-occupied Giresun city who challenges the Turkish occupation army and allied jihadist mercenaries. A large part of Mahmoud Ibrahim's house has been destroyed by the Turkish shelling of his village, Tall Abyad, in the western countryside of Tall Abyad. Ibrahim lives with his family consisting of his 80-year-old mother, his sister, his wife, and his children. He depends on sheep breeding to support his family. Now, he is living in a house half destroyed by Turkish shelling. Only one room and a half remained in the house. However, he refused to leave his house, which can barely protect them from the rain and the storms. He chose to stay with his family, defying the constant Turkish shelling.
محمود إبراهيم من قرية تال عبيد، ريف تال أبيض الغربي. بيتنا تحت مثل ما تشوفون انتم، نصه على الأرض، والنص الباقي المطر فوقه ومشقشق، والمياه تجي من هنا ومن هنا، والهواء يضرب بي وقت تجي المطر من ذروة لذروة نفوت تحت المطر، والشمس كل الصيف تضرب فيه، ويعني ما في واحد وين يتقبل ما يعرف. وفوق هالشيء هذا القصف التركي المدفعيه بين حين وحين وتنضل تضرب ما نعرف وين تغبى من هين ومن هين، انا واولادي ومرتي واختي والامي عمرها 80 سنه عاجز ما قدرت تمشي كليتنا من دار لدار تغبى نص القصف، وحياتنا مساويه في الوضع. عندي بنتي امس سارحه بالدوار عمرها 7 سنين ضربها 5 امتار عنها، الله استرها والله يعني فكت.
Mahmoud Ibrahim and his 80-year-old mother said that despite the difficult circumstances they're going through, they will never leave their home and property. Below is the video interview conducted by the Syrian Democratic Forces Press Center with the family.
كرفة الإبراهيم من كسل عبيد من ريف تل أبيض الغربي. جينا لقينا بيتنا مقصوف ومهدوم. جينا لقينا غرفة ونص ونظفناهن وسوينا وقعدنا بيه. وين نريد نروح؟ والمطر كل النهار فوقنا والظرف فوقنا، نطفش نروح بالليل ونرد اخرى على بيتنا، ما بي مطرح نروح غير. وانا دميت كبير 70 80 سنه عمري، واولاد ابني صغيرين كلهم حوالي. والله لا هجمنا على حدا ولا رحنا على حدا ولا ببوتنا، وصار علينا هالحال.
The Syrian Democratic Council has held a panel discussion to commemorate the start of the Syrian Revolution 11 years on from the first uprising against the Ba'ath government of Bashar al-Assad. The discussion took place in a Kurdish neighborhood of Aleppo, where the Assad government was able to wrest back control after heavy fighting, but where the Sheikh Mahsoud district has been able to maintain its autonomy. Local political, intellectual, and civil society dignitaries participated in the discussion, which was entitled "The Syrian Crisis, Its Consequences, Situation Today, and the Occupation." Speaking at the conference, Emine Aliko of the Democratic Union Party condemned the Assad government for its actions, saying, "This is a matter of shame. Syrians who call for freedom and coexistence are not terrorists. The most appropriate solution to this crisis is to build a democratic, free, pluralistic, and centralized country." The SDC works on behalf of the autonomous regions of North and East Syria as its key diplomatic and representative body within Syria and on the international stage. It advocates for a democratic, decentralized Syria following the model established in Nes and on the basis of the teachings of democratic confederalism proposed by imprisoned Kurdish political leader Öcalan. A shared statement was delivered at the end of the discussion indicating support for the political project it advocated for by SDC. Hundreds of students have attended a conference in the Euphrates Hall in Kobane, North and East Syria, to share political and pedagogical perspectives. At the annual conference, students heard from political and student leaders including Ferhan Kobane, deputy co-chair for the local canton. With the conference falling on 11th anniversary of the Syrian Revolution on 15th of March, Mr. Kobane and other speakers highlighted the political role of Nes and its student movement, in particular in continuing to fight for democracy and justice in the region. Following speeches, the annual report of the Democratic Students Movement was read aloud, while 2 new co-chairs were elected for the regional branch of the NES-wide organization. A video addressing Öcalan's position on young people and their crucial role in society was also shown. The conference then concluded with the announcement of key aims and goals for the students' political movement throughout 2022. The students also stated that they would work to help local residents overcome backward ideas prevalent in society and fight against what they described as psychological warfare being conducted by the Turkish state and other opponents of Nes. Banners reading, "Join the War of Freedom in the Year of Victory," and "We demand the freedom of Öcalan," were also displayed in the conference hall. An exhibition has opened in Derik, North and East Syria, to display the arts and handicrafts produced by students in the region's schools. The exhibition, organized by the local education center in the Kurdish majority town, is expected to last 7 days. 125 paintings, sculptures, and handicrafts were displayed at the event, which also saw traditional Kurdish clothing, music, and dancing on display. The exhibition exhibited children's achievement in learning about their cultural heritage and translating this into their own handicrafts. A prize was also given to the steering committee of the Ibrahim Massoud School for their achievements. The 20th Geneva International Film Festival and Forum on Human Rights has announced its winners at the world premiere on March 4 to 13, 2022. Angels of Sinjar by Hannah Polak has been granted 2 awards in the category of creative documentaries. Mount Sinjar in Iraqi Kurdistan is the holy place for the Yazidis, and this is the area that ISIS stormed in August 2014 after the Peshmerga pulled out. After the director has given us the religious background of the ethnic group in a voiceover accompanied by aerial shots of the breathtaking region, the drone takes us to the city of Sinjar with a population of 90,000 before the genocide. Now, the place is a ruin, with most of the buildings destroyed. After ISIS attempted to wipe out the Yazidi people in the most atrocious way, Hanifa and her 2 sisters, born unfathomably cause of this 21st century genocide. As they are trying to free their 3 sisters remaining in ISIS captivity, Angels of Sinjar follows them, focusing on the strength and courage to rise from victimhood, clawing their way back to life and demanding justice and a lasting peace for the Yazidi population. The documentary movie Angels of Sinjar, directed by Hannah Polak, received the awards of the Gilda Vieira de Mello Prize and International Jury Prize. Hannah Polak's documentary focuses on 2014 ISIS genocide against the Yazidi people in the city of Shengal, of known well-named Sinjar in Iraqi Kurdistan, telling the story of Hanifa and the struggle to rescue her sisters from ISIS captivity, as well as the strength and courage